Disappearing after disappointment is not rest. It's a wound. A lot of leadership doesn't break in the moment of disappointment. It breaks in what you do next. This month, we're talking about what happens when things don't work out the way you expected, because that's where your leadership gets revealed. So in episode 37, it was frustration and the law of the lid. It's your capacity to stay in authority under stress. Then we talked about forcing it and the law of process, leading the process daily instead of trying to dominate the outcome. Episode 39, we talked about the mirror and how to use setbacks as data instead of a diagnostic. And last week, we reframed it. So when the goal isn't to be chosen, it's to be congruent. So today, we're talking about what happens after the disappointment. Specifically, what happens in you when it doesn't work and your instinct is to disappear. So I want to name this plainly. The isolation wound isn't just loneliness. It's the internal script that says, if I'm disappointed, I should go quiet until I'm better. If I made a mistake, I should handle it privately so nobody sees it. If I don't know what I'm doing, I should figure it out alone so I don't look incompetent. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's just you pulling back, not returning texts, not posting, not pitching, not following up, not asking for help, and you tell yourself it's rest. But if we're honest, it's often self-protection. Years ago, my husband and I were doing single family fix and flips, and we thought we found the house. It had good bones, but it was a big remodel, like bigger than what we had done before, and we were still new. Here's the part that matters. Learning does not mean taking on a bigger project just because it feels like you'll learn more. That's not leadership, that's adrenaline. But at the time, we had the money lined up, we'd put a bid into the bank, it was a foreclosure property, and we were moving. And then, I'm not exaggerating, within about 24 hours of it going through, our money lender backed out. He told us he looked at the wrong comps. And because it was a rural area, he couldn't support the lend we were asking for. Translation, that entire deal fell through. And now we had to go back to the bank, the realtor, everyone we had lined up and say, we can't do this, we're out. And I remember feeling so disappointed, it was physical. And underneath the disappointment, something was sharper. This is going to damage our reputation. And that was the wound talking. It wasn't facts, not really, the wound. Because the isolation wound doesn't just say, ouch, it says hide. And it convinced us the safest thing to do was to swallow it, go quiet, and wait until we felt confident again. And honestly, it took us a few months to get back to looking for other properties. Not because we didn't have the skill, but because we didn't have the support structure. John Maxwell says a leader's potential is determined by those closest to him. In other words, your capacity isn't just about your talent, it's about your circle. And when you're dealing with disappointment, the question isn't just what happened, it's who are you doing this with? Because isolation doesn't just make you feel bad, it makes you make worse decisions. It makes you interpret setbacks as who you are. It makes you delay. It makes you disappear. And it makes you carry weight you were never meant to carry alone. Here's what I didn't get to say earlier. That same realtor still works with us. That same bank still works with us. And in a strange way, we were actually seen as more reliable because we owned what happened. We didn't spin, we didn't ghost, we didn't pretend, we told the truth. And integrity, real integrity, doesn't damage relationships. It clarifies them. So the thing we were most afraid of, that my reputation is ruined story, that was never the truth. That was just the wound. And let me say this in a way that might save you time. Taking on bigger project because you want to learn faster is not always bravery. Sometimes it's a nervous system strategy. Sometimes it's you trying to prove you're legitimate. Sometimes it's you chasing the feeling of, I'm finally doing it. But leadership is not about bigger. Leadership is about capacity. And capacity includes your experience level, your margin, your contingencies, and yes, your inner circle. If your circle cannot support the size of the decision, it's not a growth move. It's a gamble. So the 3 steps I want to leave you with this week, the protocol. The first step you're going to do is to regulate first before you decide what it means. If you're disappointed right now, do not interpret your life from inside a stress response. Take 60 seconds, hand on chest, exhale longer than you inhale, and say, this is disappointment, not danger. Because when your body feels threatened, isolation looks like wisdom. It's not, it's just your system trying to protect you. The second part of this is you name your isolation script out loud. So you ask yourself, what am I telling myself this setback means about me? What am I afraid people will think? Where am I tempted to disappear? Then name it plainly. My wound is telling me this will damage my reputation. My wound is telling me I should handle this alone. My wound is telling me I can't be seen until I'm perfect again. And then the third step is to activate your inner circle before you spiral. And your inner circle isn't everyone. It's a few specific roles. But here are 3 that matter when things do not work out. The first one is the stabilizer, or it's the person who helps you regulate and stay grounded. Then it's the strategist. It's the person who helps you see options and next steps. And then you need the truth teller, the person who can lovingly call out your wound stories. And if you don't have these people yet, that's not shame. That's information. Leadership homework isn't always do more. Sometimes it's just build the circle that can hold your next level. So this week's work, inner circle audit is your 10 minutes. Write down the names of your stabilizer, your strategist, and your truth teller. If you don't have one, just write TBD. You'll figure it out. The second thing is One message, send one honest text today. Hey, I'm disappointed about something and I can feel myself wanting to go quiet. Can I talk it out for 10 minutes? And then a capacity check. So before you say yes to a bigger move this week, ask yourself, do I have the support for the size of the decision? Because disappointment is a lesson, but the real lesson is how you handle it, not what you perceive it to mean in the moment. And mature leadership does not isolate. It chooses its circle on purpose. Thank you for taking this time with me this week. I will see you next week on Unapologetically in Power.